So are we online now or?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
he said.
Are we on?
You're on,
I
yes.
want
And we're
to-
recording now?
You're recording, yes.
Is there a way to move Megan a little closer to us or not really?
No, Alex,
Oh.
just leave it, just leave it.
Okay,
Thank you, thank you.
okay.
It's fine where
I
it
just
is. No,
Can't
it's
see her,
fine, it's fine.
that's all I can see her.
You can't see her?
Well,
You want to
You
switch
could
things
plug it
with,
in over there and just put her at the head of the
but it's
table.
attached to the
Yeah,
keyboard.
if we,
Oh, that's why.
But you could
Okay.
sit there.
Why don't
Joanne,
you sit
next
over
to
there
her.
so you can see her?
no, I can just,
Oh, okay.
it's all right, I just thought.
we'll see her next time.
Yeah, so I would like to call the meeting to order at 7:11 PM on January 16th, 2025. I would like to do a roll call before we get started. Crystal,
Mark Dunn.
Joanne Godding.
That was Claire.
and we have a guest with us.
And we have,
Oh, and Megan.
Megan Relin.
Doing a different thing today. Usually we have the owl and we can see each other on the screen. However, today we're using a camera on a podium, a stand, and Megan is on the computer. She's attending us during Zoom. So again, Megan, thank you for coming. Okay, so before we get started, I would like to definitely welcome Nikki, she prefers Nikki Corey, correct? She is the director of the Council on Aging, the Senior Center, and she's here to give us a little input on what the community is doing involving the seniors and what they've accomplished and all of the stuff that they have going on so far. So I would like to just add that she's here to speak. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to have open reflections. Does anyone have any open reflections besides me? Not today?
I'm hoping to be smiling this time next week.
Oh, why? Oh, no, you shouldn't be smiling this time next week.
That, we're not, that,
Well, maybe a different thing I'm thinking about.
that we all get through
Oh, okay.
That's why
Got
I
it.
said.
the
maybe-
special MLK this year.
Yeah, I know, isn't that
That is kinda-
something? Isn't that something?
Okay.
Okay.
You have a reflection on.
Yes, I do. I attended the Langston Hughes Black Nativity Play in Boston, thanks to Mark for sending that email, and it was wonderful. I mean, the singing, it was more like an opera, and the dancing, and just the whole play was so moving. And then I took my auntie, and we had a chance to meet the staff. And yes, and she's 80 years old, so I took a picture and I'm going to frame it for her so she can, so she can have that memory. Yeah, she's, you wouldn't know she's 80 though. She's fire and ice sometimes, but she's a wonderful person. But yeah, it was very, very moving and it felt well put together and I was just so pleased. It was wonderful. And even after that, I went next door because it was at the Emerson Theater and next door there was another theater that had opera. And I wanted to go and see an opera that's coming up, the Nutcracker. But I decided not to because when you factor in the travel time and then the time getting back, we didn't get back to almost 11 o'clock at night. So it was wonderful though, and I do appreciate it.
No room at the hotel.
No room at the inn. Okay, so everyone, did you all have a chance to review the minutes?
Mhm.
And
It's
does
okay.
anyone have any,
It's printed.
just take a look at it, I'll take your time.
my only question was, there were a number of things in red and I just
Oh.
didn't know why.
I don't know why I printed like that, mine
Okay, so it's,
printed normal,
okay, great.
so I don't know how you printed yours, I don't think anyone else, does anyone else? have
Mine's
one?
red
Mine's in
with-
Red with underline.
I think it's edits.
It is edits, but I don't know why,
Yeah, you
Pat and I have.
have to turn
red,
that
black,
on.
and white.
It's, if
Yours
you
does-
print
yeah,
it,
yours
track
is
edits,
underlined.
or you can turn
And
off
it
the
would-
track.
Yeah, that's why I printed this and it didn't come out with the edits.
Yeah.
Just
So it's just a setting.
Yeah, okay, I'll keep that in mind.
I just didn't,
I can
I thought when I
Figure it out though.
put
It
it
is
up
not
on,
written.
post it on the town site, what if it gets approved? It'd be nice to have those out there.
Of course, why would it be there?
True.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I, this was very, very good.
I would only change one thing,
What?
in the very last line,
Very last one, yes.
MD moved. I didn't approve. I moved to adjourn the meeting.
Well,
JG,
that's technically true.
Comment.
Oh, that is a
You have a
motion.
pen?
that was a motion.
I forgot one.
Wow, you got that.
So,
I don't think you need my approval to adjourn. I just made.
Well, you did, yeah.
I made
Okay,
movement.
I just wanted to include what you
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
I didn't want to
yeah.
leave it out. This is new.
I
to
want
me,
to take more
so
credit than I deserve.
Wow.
I'm learning and I'm reducing and adding as I go on, so. I had a very good helper,
And I would move to accept minutes.
okay?
I'll, what, second that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
as edited, actually.
As that.
and Joanne second. So should we do a roll call now? Because I know we did one just now, but I know at the last meeting we have to do
On the
one.
planning board, we go alphabetically, so done.
No,
Oh,
no.
my God.
Next.
Joanne got it, yes.
Crystal Jackson. Megan. Oh, Megan, sorry.
Megan Rowland.
Yeah.
Yes, she had her hand.
I think that was an
Pat
aye.
Rismeyer.
All right, so.
Okay, I wish you could come closer, Megan. I really do.
You know, I may just say screw Alex's advice, and if there is feedback, I'll change it, but
Okay.
I don't think there was going to be.
Oh,
Okay.
feedback.
Okay.
I
Well,
also didn't have this,
I'm just gonna look at
meeting,
everything.
but that was before the meeting started,
Okay.
so that's what Alex heard and rushed over here for.
So are you
Recording in
able to-
progress.
Are you gonna bring on that one?
there's
That would be
feedback.
excellent. Nick is kind enough to maneuver everything, so Megan could possibly sit at the table with us.
He's working on the feedback.
Yes, he's working on feedback to correct anything he can to make this better.
So,
Okay.
do you want to jump to it looks like, oh, you actually have the guest next, so I don't have to.
Yeah. I just wanted to get that, so when Nikki talks, she'll be able to take her time. And now we have our guest, Nikki LaCory.
Hello, everybody. But, so I started COA last year. This is my first year. Officially, December 4th was a whole year.
Good job.
Yeah,
Nice.
so when I met you for the first time, Crystal, I'd only been here for a few months.
I see you, but you handled it so well. I would have never assumed.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Really?
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
handle everything really well. You don't show stress, you don't show anxiety, you just move on. through
What's the
it.
point? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think we've all been through life lessons where things have hurt us and we've overreacted, that I'm just very mild mannered with everything. Nothing's gonna burn down.
That's right.
So we're good.
That's right.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So-
Congratulations again.
Thank you. I can't even believe it's been a whole year. It's crazy.
It goes fast. It
It
really
does.
does. My grandson's already almost 3.5. And yes, and it's,
My
you met
little
him.
cutie.
Yes, and I'm going to bring him by to see him.
Yes.
He's like totally different now. He's like a little person.
Wow.
Like he's, wow.
Now it really will multiply and go
Oh.
really fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I measure his growth by the switch on the bathroom wall.
Yeah.
Because at first he used to use his little stool, stand on his stool
Yeah.
and turn the switch on. Then he tippy-toed and turn the switch on. Now he can just turn the switch on.
Oh.
Don't want that to
You'll have to
happen.
bend down eventually.
I told him, I said, pretty soon you're gonna be taller than Mimi. He says, no, Mimi's not big. I said,
Don't be saying I'm big.
I said, okay. That's what I know I'm not big, but I'm not saying that. Okay, enough of, but anyway. So other than that, how do you find working there?
Yeah, so, I came into a new building and the new building came from a church, and at the church, they had only been there a few years. It was relatively very new to me,
Right.
the way they did things here, because they had just been in transition. So this year's been about sorting, separating, seeing the needs and the gaps, and we've moved everything into transportation, nutrition, outreach,
Wow.
and municipal services. So, it was started with a director and I believe a part-time person, and then they got one full-time person, and now we're a staff of 2 full-time to include myself. Myself and Violet are full-time.
Okay.
Violet and Lauren and Catherine and our driver, all hourly and part-time, so besides Violet and myself. are full. So we run quite a ship with so little.
Yeah.
And that is done through all our volunteers.
Right.
Amazing volunteers. I will tell you, Jane Evan Smith was part of the hiring team that hired me, and I had 3 separate interviews. It was an arduous
I bet.
thing. But with Jane, she said to me, she said, don't you remember what you told me you're most afraid of? Because she asked me, what are you most afraid of? I said, those volunteers, over 100 volunteers. I was like,
Yeah.
they are lovely and they are all about community and we need them and they work just as hard as our employees do
Yeah.
when they're here.
Right.
On our reception desk, we have, it was 16, I think it's down to 13 that rotate.
Mhm.
So they work till 12:30, then the next person comes in and works till close at 4 o'clock. They communicate with each other. So when one person leaves, there's notes. And then the next
Oh,
person knows
wow.
exactly where they left off.
Right.
And they do work that Violet does, that I do, that Lauren does, that Catherine does. If we have things we need, they're all professionals. And I couldn't be prouder. I mean, I am so proud of this facility with the volunteers and the employees and the efforts and the care. We can have a stranger walk in and they say, I have this talent and I would love to show it. And we find a way if we can, we really do. So I would say this is mainly volunteer based and how it
Yeah.
runs so well. It's like a well-oiled machine.
Do you have anything coming up for Black History Month, or do you have anything diverse going on?
So we're going to be showing Selma.
Mhm.
There is nothing put up on this. I believe your committee is doing something for Martin Luther King.
Yeah. February.
In February, that's what I thought, but for previous to that, we're showing Selma. So those
Okay.
are the 2 events we are doing. That's Friday, next Friday. Yeah,
Next Friday.
No, next- oh, yeah,
Selma is showing on the 24th.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
We're off on Mondays.
Yeah.
So we're also, we've incorporated, we had a particular person, and you'll know who I mean, Crystal, I'm not gonna mention names.
Okay.
But we had a person who came in and wanted to be part of the COA, wanted to be seen and wanted to do something here. So we sat and we talked and figured, what can we do? And that eventually rolled into we're starting the end of the month with a promo. I have to look the name, Afro Rhythm Movement Introduction.
Oh, I saw that.
And I talked to this person and she may not even be able to come because she's not feeling well,
Yeah.
but I'm really looking forward to it. We're trying to add in a lot of holistic types of services in our health area. Also a lot of new programming, which Violet's already been great at. We have, and your committee is honestly very helpful in that area for us. It's hard when you're a new person coming into a community to understand the diversity and the inequities. You know what I mean? See, that needs time. And so what I really found is, yes, in the COA where there are gaps, yes, but not in the diversity area. I just really feel that we accommodate as best we can, and we have hearing impaired people coming. They have asked to go see Coffee with a Cause. So we're currently now working on our systems. The building is wired for that, but they were born deaf. So there is a difference in
Yes.
hearing impaired.
Right.
So we have a system where they wear the headphones.
Mhm.
So that won't work for them. So we've ordered those pieces so that when Mitch speaks, it'll run across the screen and you can read it.
Right, I was going to ask you if you were going to have someone who does sign, or if you were going to do the
That-
visual.
The transcription.
Yes.
That's good.
That's good.
And I thought of that when you brought up the play, because it made me sad. She said, my husband and I don't know where, but I believe it was Northampton, East Coast, he plays often, and they would have a screen, but it was on a black screen and it would constantly roll with,
Right,
and we stopped doing that.
yeah.
So she doesn't go anymore, but these are things that people don't think of, even myself. I mean, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we don't. And then I find out we do, but it's just not utilized.
Right.
And I think also understanding there's different levels of depth and
Yes,
hearing
yes.
loss, and they were born deaf, so.
Yeah, I think from so far from what you're saying, you are really making an impact.
I hope so.
And that's a
Truly
lot to do and to learn in just 1 year.
Well, I think one of the main issues for all COAs, not just here, is people call it a senior center, right?
Right.
So I refer to it as the dining hall, that's the center.
Mhm.
It's really a council on
Yeah,
aging, it
right.
started as a social service agency.
Oh.
And every single
Oh.
council on aging is kind of known for something.
Right.
Right, so where I came from, was our food program, we had an in-house cook.
Mhm.
So the food, everybody came for lunch.
Right.
Here, we don't do lunches, and I was like, oh, we just, but we're known for programming, because that's what this community is asking for, and that's
Yeah.
what they want here. So then reevaluating and looking at that need, programming, how do we implement programming into outreach and all these other areas as a social service agency to do a service to the community?
Right.
And so we work on that through programs. We have Medicare for All come in, we have Shine Services.
I see, I received the newsletter and I am just in awe of so many programs.
Right.
I have seen other council on agents in different towns, but I think Hadley really has
Yeah.
a lot that they contribute to the elderly and so
Yeah.
forth, because it's really a lot.
I think it's because they contribute to each other too, and that is something that cannot be replicated, it truly can't.
Right.
This community, I'll give you an example, we were shockingly told about our driver passing away.
Oh,
And it's been very difficult, it's been a couple weeks now, and Sue works at the town hall, his wife. Sue,
sorry.
we had a chain going, so that all of my COA board called each person on the board. Because we didn't want it to get out and everyone be shocked, because that van serves a lot of the community outskirts on our loop run.
Right.
And these people have grown very accustomed to seeing Mark.
Yeah.
A wonderful human being.
Oh,
So, I mean, it was, though I've only been here a year, it felt like a loss of family member, and we're still, trying to get everything together. We just put the ad out, but even that, I mean, I'm working with Lauren to help her through. Because it feels odd and different, like you almost feel like you're a traitor, So, I mean, it's those things that happen behind the scenes, but this community rallied around all of us and Sue, and we've attended all the services together, and unlike any community I've ever seen. And again, that's why I say I'm proud of this community, this building, this place. I mean, it's beautiful.
yeah, it's
It
come a
really is
long way. I
beautiful.
remember when they used to go over to the old school.
Yeah,
And I used to feel so sad for everyone because it was such a small place.
Yeah.
And the building was old and I'm quite sure it wasn't safe. But when they started to build this, I said, whoa. And when I seen it, in progress and still couldn't get the scope of it
yeah,
until finally it was done. And I said, whoa.
that's Jane Evans Smith.
Yeah, she really.
She is.
Wow.
We were talking about mentors before the filming started, and she is amazing. She's amazing. She's a character.
Yeah.
She is a tough cookie,
Yeah, that's
but
what
she's soft and mushy
Yeah.
inside in
Oh,
some
yeah.
spots where she
Yeah.
has to be.
Yeah.
She's fantastic, and she is trying to slowly retire and move out a little bit of the CO, and that's been difficult for some, and difficult for her too.
Yeah, I would imagine for her because once you retire, you don't have
Yeah.
much to do.
I said, your parking space is not going anywhere, Jane, and your office is
Yeah,
not
it's
either.
just-
So, I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm not rushing her on any
No.
expense. I mean, she is so valuable to this community, and
She is a great person. Every time I speak to Jane, she gives me a big hug.
Yeah.
She's always so warm and welcoming. I appreciate, talking with her and, she's just a nice
Yeah,
person.
she really
you
is,
know,
yeah.
And regardless of to everyone else's interactions with her, it's all.
well,
Your
when you're talking business, you have to have two sides of that coin too,
she's
right?
great
Or else
with
everybody
business.
will walk all over
Oh,
you. So,
yes.
yeah.
That's what I mean. You can really learn from her. You can be soft and nice and welcoming,
Mhm.
and you can be firm at the same time.
That's correct.
To let
Yeah.
people know.
And that was a learning curve too.
Yeah.
So those are all things that I look up to her for that. And
Yeah.
she's a very special and unique person.
That's
She,
wonderful.
yeah. And we all work together. I mean, Violet does an amazing job, but so does Lauren and Catherine. There's a lot of behind the scenes that people don't see.
That's
you
what
know?
we wanna know
Right.
today, what.
Right, so we have
happens
the
behind
outreach and outreach services, the transportation. Lauren works closely with our drivers. We have 5 volunteer drivers that
Oh,
go to
okay,
medical appointments. You have to be a Hadley resident.
good.
And we have 1 paid driver and 2 backup drivers that are helping us out right now to do the loop runs.
Mhm.
Those are important, and we also, see where I came from, this is the difference when I talk about COAs. That COA was known for social service. It was very big, but so was the need.
Right.
Oh, yes.
So
yeah.
in something that took me a year to quite understand how when you look at the population and the census and the poverty rates, I mean, now I understand why it's more programming, less of that, but does not mean that Lauren does any less of value to the community. She's great. She goes above and beyond. So
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that fact too.
Mhm.
She will follow a person right through to social work. And we're working with the
Oh.
police department with the social worker. So that eventually she'll be putting some hours in here with Lauren, for opiate funding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because problem with seniors too, right?
Wow,
So
that is an excellent thing to do,
Yeah.
because that's one thing people do not understand. They think because you get a certain age, you
Yeah.
no longer have an addiction.
right, that's right.
But, there are people, there are veterans who,
There's
they-
lonely people, and so a lot of
It
people
aches
that,
and pains. You
right,
get- you
that's
get
correct.
painkillers
Yeah.
and
And
then
then-
you find yourself,
Yeah.
that's
so what
the
happens?
gateway.
So I'm working with, our chief to get Lauren involved with that too, so we'll be adding hours in there at some point, and that is an important service to the community, and again, a little unseen, just like, we only see police when we need to, right? So
So how long do you think it will take for the program to start, and how
it
far is
was, that is driven by the police department. So that would be in their budget to add the hours in for Lauren, and that one will probably happen until Mike was pretty much all set and ready to go. As you know, he's our temporary
everything? Yes.
Yeah.
TA right now, so I'm not pushing, but it will be, I'm almost positive it would be fiscal 26. Definitely done by that.
Now, that's something that people
It's
need
very
to know
exciting.
and
It is.
understand.
And I like the fact that Lauren's willing to take on those 5
As a
hours. She's
volunteer.
got the backup. And she also will learn. We have to continue to learn to grow, right?
Exactly.
So I encourage that with all of the employees. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is great.
Exciting.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, so is there anything else that you may say that is really more inclusive than, let's say, a few months ago? Maybe a different program that has come, or thinking about having a new program?
Well, what I would like to look at some point, and I pushed it off because of a couple other things that have come up, but I would like to look at the nutrition department at
Oh.
some point and looking at and that wouldn't be, I was looking at it for my FY 26 budget, which I just had the meeting and I spoke with them, and I think I'm gonna be looking at that more FY 27, because we have to get transportation back in order.
Right.
And adding 5 hours to Lauren's 25 hours, making her 30, and having the social worker for those 5 hours as well. I want everything done correctly,
Right.
baby
Mhm.
steps, and that's how this year's been, baby steps, but all those little seeds are starting to grow, and it's
That's
exciting, so, yeah.
So when you say the nutritional program.
So what I'm thinking, it's still a thought,
Okay.
because we have to get into an agreement and everything. But I'm thinking I'd like a stable type of food program a couple days a week. So almost like a grab and go soup and sandwich kind of.
Like churches do.
But yes, very easy, simple. Now, whether that would be someone who volunteered, hired,
Yeah.
or a contracted, so I don't know. I would not want to interfere with any programming that currently happens in the kitchen area or any volunteer program or lunchbox that's done by friends.
Right.
So I'm thinking like 3 days. So it, like I
Mhm.
explained to Mike, if he's driving around his police car and it's lunchtime, I want it, so it's like a. Maybe a Tuesday, Thursday, you just walk in, you can pick from maybe 2 sandwiches or a salad or soup of the day salad,
Wow.
grab it
Wow.
and go.
That's excellent.
That's what that's what I wanna do. That is my goal. That was my goal when I came in and there was no program, but then, life took over and the COA took over.
Well, you know, I'm one for cooking.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would be more than happy to volunteer to help with that.
Thank
I
you.
really would.
I would like to get it, definitely, my optimal goal would be a paid person to do that, so that there's responsibility behind that. When we have volunteers, it works out really great and they handle the responsibility, but for instance, like when you came to cook, there's no group to help another group.
Right.
Right.
So we don't, so in that instance, what typically would have happened, it would have been me and Violet and,
Yes.
whatever volunteers we can grab.
Mhm.
It was just a
Right, and
circumstances that day.
Makes it more sustainable if you've got a paid. person.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
why it's pushed up. I mean,
Yeah.
we have plenty of volunteer, food program that's coming in every month. We do lunchbox veterans,
Right,
does
yeah.
bridges.
Right.
I see.
Violet creates lunch and learn.
Yes.
And does these beautiful displays of, different kinds of drinks, mocktails, or, different types of food. So, not to at all
Yeah, you-
eliminate any
yeah.
of those things, but a consistent food program a couple days.
That would be excellent, because like you said, and not only, people who may just wanna pop in, there may be some people who don't have a meal.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I'm sure there are.
And that's where I'm
Yeah.
also going with this. So,
Yes.
if we can make it a certain cost level that's affordable, and also if it doesn't all get eaten, then we would look at another.
Option.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do, and you're saying these people do have to reside in Hadley.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Well, not for that. That was just for transportation. The COA people, we have 78% Hadley people come to the COA, about
Right.
22% are outside of Hadley.
So the food would be for everyone.
Well, I mean, you walk
Because I
in
know
and
we
you're,
have the economy
Yeah.
that's housing homeless people, and I'm quite sure they would want to stop in if they knew
Yeah.
about it too.
this would be a small
That's what
program,
that's
so
what I'm
yeah,
trying to
but if there were
prefer.
leftovers,
Then
what
we
I'm
can
thinking,
donate.
exactly,
Yes,
that's what.
yes.
So there would be a second part of
You're a
that.
very smart
Right,
cookie
yeah.
maker.
Right.
like that.
You're thinking you would use your facilities here to prepare the food?
Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's more of a thought process right now, but that's what I'm thinking, a couple days a week. Now, there's also options of thinking of contracted services, so that wouldn't be in the budget, but it would be all of theirs, those 2 days, so. You gotta weigh out what's better for what we have now, because again. I do not want to make any of those volunteers mad.
Yeah.
And because truly, they are so important to our operation that I don't want anyone to feel dismissed. It has nothing to do with that. It's it's a benefit. So it's a workaround, trying to figure out the best workaround that we can do, because we have that beautiful industrial kitchen. and I'd like to
Yeah.
really use,
I
yeah.
love it.
Without a doubt.
Gorgeous.
I think that's
And the
great.
dishwasher especially.
Oh, and that goes fast,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You find me in there and I'm like, yeah.
No, I'm glad you shared that with
Yeah.
us, because,
Yeah,
I'm personally, my family business is in the nutrition field, so I'd like
that's,
people thinking about
Wonderful.
nourishment. It's
and it's
basic.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do
Yeah.
food programming showing, the food pyramid, and the state comes in with different programming for those. So those are intermingled in here.
Yeah.
And we all work together on some of the, because sometimes I'll get an email like, oh, I can play the guitar and the banjo and our band does great, and I forward it to my,
Sure.
Then we filter through, and we have a Monday morning meeting with Jane. She comes because she's still working
Mhm.
here as a volunteer.
Mhm.
Then we all connect in that way, and we all, throw things out.
Yeah, everyone touches base with
Yeah,
ideas. That's
yeah.
great. Everyone's still continuously working together.
You know, if there was someone who, I know this is thinking in my head, but
Yeah.
were interested in some of those meals, but needed transportation, that would be another.
Yeah, that goes to my thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
The civic parks.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Our transportation is run by a PVPA grant.
Okay.
So how that works is that they match the town, so it's a 50-50 split.
Oh.
So Catherine writes invoices to PVTA as per the grant for the driving of the 3-day loop run. So I had to recertify, and so when I recertified, I requested 3 to 5 additional hours to help social isolation.
There you go.
Yay.
So we could get matched. The thought process is we can bring them here to come eat.
Yeah, that's
See
right.
that? And that's like blowing my mind because that's what the Thanksgiving to me was about.
That's what I was
Reaching
thinking.
people who are not
Yes.
mobile, so having that,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's exciting. I mean, I
Yes.
haven't been approved yet. It's for FY 26, so hopefully I'll be finding out soon.
yeah,
But, some of these things stood still for a while, not to blame previous directors
Right,
or
no,
anything,
of
with the building was happening.
right,
That's
right,
right.
So
COVID,
now
yeah.
we're starting to like operate in that kind of mindset, like,
Right.
What's next?
that's.
And where can I
excellent.
fit it?
I was thinking that too, I wish there was a way to actually reach these people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Because again, like Mark said, these are the forgotten,
Right.
the shut-ins, and
Exactly.
they need to be recognized as well.
And that, so, so this is kind of just, I'll give you each one. This is kind of how I separated everything out. I have more. And so that is the area you can see that like Violet helps with that, we have the homebound meal program. And so that is the most vacant area, but what has one of the most the largest amount of volunteers is nutrition.
Okay. I see.
But it doesn't work when you want to do something new, because those volunteers are assigned to current programming that we have, right? So you can't just call and say, hey, we have someone coming in, would you like to wash dishes or set the, it doesn't work like that. So that's when the program will come in.
Excuse me, could you somehow talk about what you just handed out so people in the
Yeah.
audience can know what we're.
Sure.
Yeah, and Megan can't see this, so.
Oh, she.
Hey, Megan, are you still there?
I am.
Okay,
Okay, good.
there we go.
Now we can see her.
So can you hand this to her so she can see it?
I don't know.
I
No, you
Zoom in on that
hold it
paper.
in front of the
I'll do an
camera.
extra one.
There we
But
go.
I'll explain
Well, I'll
exactly
send
what
via
it is.
email. Yeah.
Zoom in on you guys for a second. There you go.
So this,
He's
but
gonna-
I don't
he's gonna
mind.
zoom in on
I can't really see it. It's totally fine though.
I will
Yeah.
email it to you, Megan,
We'll send
okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
So I did this in a couple months on my arrival, because I couldn't understand how they operated.
it.
Because,
Right.
and the only reason why that was because the building had just was brand new, and there were, so everybody was doing a little bit of everything, and then to have over 100 volunteers, I'm like, I need to like understand.
Right.
So every COA has all of these departments: an outreach department, a transportation department, programs, nutrition, and the municipal business.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
first separated that out. Then I looked at our volunteers, and then I looked at if you see my employees, we have 3 office plus myself. So then this gave me a visual of what's happening daily. So when I have Violet working in programming, but she's also helping in the kitchen with volunteers with our homebound program. And then Lauren doing outreach. My background is social services, so that was my first area I'm looking at because it was familiar to me, and I'm like, how do you do this, Lauren, with part-time? But now I understand,
Right.
So this gave me a visual to help me understand like where the COA sits and how many volunteers we're working with. And also giving a paid employee responsibility to these volunteers. So we don't have 100 volunteers going, huh?
Yeah.
And that way, the onus is on us, not
Mhm.
the volunteer, because we're that appreciative. We don't want to lose a volunteer because something wasn't done correctly. The
Yeah.
onus is on the paid employee, hence that's why this. And also to understand and to give other people a visual during a meeting or when I'm talking, to understand that I'm working with mostly part-time employees. And when I came in the first time, I sat down and I used to work at accountant's office years ago and I used to help with that. So I understood what a budget looked like, but a budget should look like something like this. You could understand what's happening. here. And I'm looking at it going, where do we get the toilet paper and the Kleenex from? You know? But this particular community, I will tell you, unlike the other community that I work with, works amazingly well with other departments. So we work with DPW.
Yeah.
So DPW does our building maintenance and there's a budget for that over there. But that, so I had to like really understand what's happening. It's unlike any other town that I've worked.
You had to put together your own Excel sheet.
Yeah.
So you
And
can
so I
have
could
things.
get
right.
through.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So
what
this
I-
is what I use to make people really understand what happens at a council on aging, because it's just like ageism. People hear senior center and they think, oh, a bunch of people, old people
Exactly.
come here to dance and
Yeah.
laugh, and you do nothing all day, Violet, Lauren, Catherine, Nikki, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really the,
The assumption.
there's a lot that happens here, and a lot of people, it's a dedicated space for people aging, and it's aging services, and we offer a lot of unique services for the town of Hadley.
Yeah, I.
It's a
know.
beautiful, beautiful thing
It's a
that
lot
happens
going
here.
on.
Yeah.
It's not just where people come and sit down and sip on cocoa.
Right.
It
So
really keeps them
that's
active.
very true.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the first, when I came in, first thing I did is I also run a caregivers group for dementia. So when I came in, I'm looking at this and I'm going, oh, that's nice, you got a grant, but it was a reimbursable grant. So I had to set it up with the town. That was the first week
Oh, wow.
for a memory cafe. Hence then we got the memory cafe, now called
Yes.
Connections.
Mhm.
We have the caregiver group that I do the fourth Thursday of the month. The memory cafe is the fourth Wednesday of the month, and we have a respite person who comes in if a caregiver needs a respite person during a group,
Mhm.
during caregivers group. So we have 4 things running under that. So, I mean, and then the annual report was due and then FY 24 budget had to be done, which is
So you
It's a
run
lot.
the respite group, you said, I mean, the
caregiver.
caregivers
Yeah.
group. Wow, so.
I had been doing it for 5 years with Alzheimer's Association in Munson where I previously worked, so I brought it here.
Was this program active before you came or did
No.
you
No.
implement it?
None of these programs were active,
Wow, you
Yeah.
were such a treasure.
but it was exciting because Hadley had approved what became age friendly, so the work was already done when I walked in here. Now we had to implement.
Right,
And that's where I walked in. So not to disrespect previous directors or any work that was done previously, they got Hadley to this point where we could do these things,
Right.
which is wonderful. And just luckily I had been schooled in that already because we had just gotten months in each friendly. So I was doing the caregiving. So
that's excellent because again, not a lot of churches or
Mhm.
senior centers do as much as the Hadley Senior Center does.
Yeah.
And if anyone was to just walk in,
Yeah.
they would see the pool table, they'd see the different rooms.
Yeah,
and
the fitness
and
room,
the
the yoga
everything.
room, the
Exactly.
art room.
Arts and crafts.
And you can even pick up a calendar and see each day just about, there's always something going on, and that's important.
Truth be told, I don't even think I've told Jane this one, but I remember my first interview walking in, I'm looking at the building. Hey, sat down, waited for my interview. When I left, I never knew this was gonna be where I was working. I just
No.
didn't believe it. Jane showed me around, but I still could not believe this was a council on
know.
aging, because when you walk in, sometimes it's quiet.
Mhm.
But that is because everyone's behind closed doors in those dedicated rooms for those locations. So the interview process, I'm sitting up at the front, there's nothing happening around. I thought, well, maybe it's a town home, and Jane came and showed me around, she goes, this is the COA. And, it didn't sink in until my first day of actually working
Right.
here and looking around.
Yeah,
It's pretty
there's
cool.
something, like I said, you
But it's
normally see
so
people
much-
sitting around.
Well, they really designed it after
They,
that,
well, it was,
after they had that crumbling building basement, you know.
Yeah,
They knew what didn't work,
yeah,
so. yeah.
but they also designed it in mind with thinking, what does the community want, what do seniors need, because these spaces. Honestly, if we kept going, we could double the size of this building.
I can imagine.
We're running out of space for having some of these things, which
Right.
it's difficult.
That's a good problem. I
It's a
think.
good
That
problem.
plays into a question I had. Do you have numbers? Do you have an idea of how many seniors you serve?
I do.
Yeah.
So 5,200 approximately in Hadley off the top of my head, and about 30% of those are Hadley over 60 residents. That's where that 78-22% comes in. It seems to be the average number since a few months ago. It's 78 Hadley, and we've been getting some people, I've gotten interviewed about Amherst, we've been getting a lot of people from Amherst coming
Yeah.
to the building. The interview kind of came down to, they want their own dedicated space, they share a space that's actual community center, and the
Yes.
senior center is on a higher level, so. I didn't know that's why, what the point of the interview was, but that was the point, so because they're wondering why Amherst is coming here.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, even at the library,
Mm.
you get people coming from different towns because they do not have a library like we
Right.
do. And they are just amazed how there's so many different sections
Mhm.
in the library.
That's right.
And, they just come from all around, because when I bring my grandson, I ask people, are you from Hadley? And they go, no, I'm from Westfield, I'm from Amherst, and it's just, wow.
But it's a reflection of the community.
Exactly.
Again, and I'm not blowing smoke up,
Yeah.
it truly is a community that is very tight knit, and
Yeah.
it was
Huh.
scary when I came here, Charlie,
I know,
because
it's
that's very,
outsider coming in.
yeah. But it works here, and it really does, and like I said, I'm very proud to be part of it.
It's like your auntie,
Yeah,
Yeah, you go to their house, you don't wanna move anything.
that's
You just
right,
want everything to
That's
stay the way
right.
it is, so you try to just accommodate.
and yes,
Yeah,
that was the year.
yeah,
It's been a
exactly.
year.
I can understand.
Yeah.
Finally now, slowly but surely, you might be able to put your ideas to work.
Yep, the
Which
seeds
is
are
something
popping,
that's-
they're growing,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You
that's
know, all
something.
the little things are done, I just need yeses now.
Exactly, and I'm hoping you get that, because
too.
I definitely will volunteer to help.
I
if
would love
someone
that,
is-
yeah.
Can come in.
Actually, I would actually like that at some point when I start working in that area, because I do want to hit those communities,
Yes.
those streets, so that.
Oh,
Because I brought Chief in, sat down with them and just asked about different areas, and
no.
it's like, it just felt like we're missing the mark
Oh,
somewhere,
when
right?
I delivered the
So-
food to Thanksgiving, I didn't even know these streets were in Hadley.
So-
They were like
Right.
such back road streets.
Right, so I would definitely get the committee involved.
Yeah, that
Just to
would,
get your input on, like, thoughts on that kind of.
yeah, well, I can tell you now I'm for it.
Okay.
It's
You gotta get the
inclusion.
town to pay them.
Well, That's the next step, but
Yeah.
yeah, as far
Yeah,
as
fix
going
that.
forward, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be, to actually reach out to someone in that
Yeah.
demographic and be able to.
Well, it's for Violet too, so in that area, I mean, it is an outreach product, but it would hit programming.
Right,
So it's
yeah.
with programming to maybe pick them up and even bring them in here. Pick them up and maybe bring them to somewhere else, inside Hadley or hour long this distance. But to hit those that are isolated and
Yeah.
feel like they don't belong or part of something,
Yeah.
that should be the mantra here.
And-
We
and-
all belong.
Yeah, and
I
the
like
sad
that.
thing is too, a lot of elderly people live on Golden Court.
Mhm.
They're so close, but so far. Because they can't walk.
Right.
They don't have the
But,
access.
the thing with that too is the loop service does go to those places.
I was gonna ask you what the loop was.
Yeah, so the
You
loop-
mentioned it a few
Yeah, the
times.
loop runs to Golden Heart and I think that's, but they go
Oh,
up, right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then the corridor, Route 9 corridor, it's a complete circle.
Mhm.
But I will tell you, not everybody takes advantage of it, and that's the issue. So
Right.
how do we do that? You can't make people jump on a van and go to a grocery store, or make people jump on a van and come to us to the center.
Right.
How do we do that? And that's what those are more questions I'd be wanting from you all to help me with, because I've talked to the staff and, about it, said, we tried that, and then nobody came, we tried that, and nobody came. So instead of making efforts that are not gonna be fulfilled, I'd rather just do it right. And so why aren't they participating? Why aren't they jumping on the van and going?
What I saw when I delivered the food to some people, number one, they were really, really elderly.
Mhm.
Number two, a lot were in wheelchairs and disabled.
Yeah.
And number three, they felt more comfortable and safe
Yeah,
in their home.
Correct,
yeah,
So
Yep.
trying to get someone out of their home
correct.
to go somewhere that may not be familiar is the thing.
And that's- But that's what we need. We
Right.
need that boost
But I
somehow.
think if you were to have a special event
Hmm.
and not me, you.
Well, you could be also, because another thought, when I was talking to this person that I know would be to have her volunteer as a person who rides on the van.
Oh,
I was
that
thinking
would be
that, if they have an
excellent, because
accompaniment.
she's full of love and hugs.
Yeah.
So,
But,
yeah.
something like that, you know what I mean, but I also need to. We can't implement a program if we don't have people coming or
Right.
working with us.
Right.
So that's the barrier right there, is
Yeah.
getting them out of the home, out of the social isolation. The van has a van lift, the driver has to be certified to strap them in. Unless they're seriously totally bedbound, I understand. And we do homebound deliveries with another volunteer group.
Yeah. I think that the issue is getting them used to being in the public space again.
Ooh,
Because after a certain amount of time, when you're in your home,
I know,
so
Yeah.
you never know, you get someone used to seeing a familiar face.
but it's like that perspective,
Yeah.
right? Out of sight, out of mind. And I
Exactly.
don't want it to out of mind.
No, it has to keep going. It
Right,
has
so,
to keep going.
maybe something on a monthly basis, who knows?
Yeah,
Something we
slowly.
can think of.
Right.
you know? So
Slowly
that'll
but
be
surely.
another conversation.
That
next
would be
year.
excellent,
Mhm.
because that's the breaking of my heart to see that. I mean,
Well, if we
Listen.
tied that into the food program.
and I'm
at
saying
some
they
point-
know me,
That's where I'm
People
thinking.
love
and this
food.
is what I mean, and if they know I'm cooking.
You definitely
Oh,
are
right.
are a
Because
carrot
my
there.
son
You
is
signed
cooking.
up immediately, those
Yeah.
30 slots gone,
Yeah,
how,
it's,
you
and
know?
Violet
I
asked
do.
me if I wanted to do more than 30. She said, did you want to do 50? I said, no, let's try, because I didn't think anyone was going to actually do it.
I knew
I
that
really didn't.
was.
I really didn't. Yeah, I really didn't. And someone said, but it's free food. I said, but you don't know Hadley.
Yeah,
It's not because it's free food.
I
They have to
understand where
like
you're,
it.
okay, I
And
understand.
and it's for the seniors, so it's not for young people.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And when I was
Right.
told that, I said, what? 30 people, we had to shut it down. So my son wants to get a food truck, so
You,
yes, this
well,
is.
see, then that might hit on the contracted service. So
this
these
is-
are
this is-
things we can
everything
talk
is
about.
meant to be talked
I see
about.
something.
You know,
yeah.
everything
See something
happens
here.
for a reason.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
and he wants to just be in Hadley.
Yeah,
He doesn't want to roam, he wants to be in Hadley
understood.
and just
Yeah.
help the people of Hadley.
Yeah.
You know, when we have construction workers
Mhm.
that are doing work in town, they can come to the food truck.
Well, food brings people together. I'm Italian,
yeah.
so I grew
Oh,
up,
yeah.
around a table and in the kitchen. So
Yeah,
that's
my
my
mother was
favorite place to be.
And trust me, my grandfather.
Food is the essence to all.
He would mangia.
Yeah. Yeah,
You couldn't even
Absolutely.
breathe, put some more in your mouth. I'm like, okay.
yeah,
So I understand.
yeah.
You know, it's funny, I love this conversation and it really brings to the table the idea of marginalization. I was looking
Yes.
for our statement,
Yeah.
our charge,
Mhm.
and there is, oh, look at that, excellent.
It's
I
good
mean,
to bring
part of
it.
our charge
Yes.
is to address marginalization.
Mhm.
And that I think is what you described so beautifully.
Yeah.
And I think it would be very exciting to partner
Yes.
with the
Yeah.
Council on Aging. Is that what you want us to call you?
Yeah.
The Council on
I like
Aging.
So the senior center is more of a nickname.
Well,
Right.
the
That's the
center
building.
is more of the building, the way
Yeah.
I look at it. I look at it as more of the building, because here's the thing. even the Office of Elder Affairs, Governor Healy just changed that name. It used to be called Executive Office Elder Affairs. She's changed it to Executive Office of Aging and Independence.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
Hence the
Yes.
council.
I love that.
Hence the Council on Aging. It's
Right.
always been the Council on
Right.
Aging. And it is a habit and it's easier said to say senior center, but for me, I always say at the center. Because
I like
again,
that.
it goes
I
back
like
to
that.
Is
that
something I like
perception.
that.
Yeah.
Right, and that's-
Trying to break that
And
perception.
that is great,
Yeah.
age, oh, and that's.
That just went into effect this week.
Oh,
Governor
great.
Healy renamed.
That's great, because I definitely. My dad's 82.
My dad's
and
83.
Yeah, he's still has his spirit, and I try to not use words to. Reflect how old he is,
Right,
because
Mhm.
I look at that situation and I say, what if I was his age? And people were talking to me, I know I may not be here longer, but I don't need a reminder.
right,
Make me feel like I have time.
Right.
Address me as someone who may still be
Right.
full of life. It's
Right.
not the end of the road for me.
Right.
well, my degree
Right.
is in lifespan development, so,
Wow.
and I went back to school in 2012.
Good
So,
for
and got my
you.
master's in 17.
Good for
So-
you.
I really lived by that kind of mantra because we aged the minute we were born, right?
Well, right.
And so it's a naturally progressive thing that's going to happen to all of us.
Exactly.
So even as we age at a certain point, and the most healthy person doing everything right, there's still going to be changes.
Exactly.
I really wish this was taught all the way through high school because
Good
even,
thinking.
you know,
Yes.
slowly happens, whatever you
Yeah.
do in those younger years.
It's
I
They'll
know,
teach you.
I know,
Exactly.
it does.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I was told that when I was young
Mhm.
by my grandmother and
Yep.
everyone else, watch what you do now, because you're gonna pay for it later.
I
And
got
you
that message
never-
too.
You never
But you know,
understand. Yeah.
even if you live the most healthy lifestyle
Yeah.
and follow every rule, your fingers widen, your
Yeah.
nose
Get
widen,
wrinkles.
Exactly.
your feet,
Yes,
Exactly.
all of it.
all these
Things
things
sag.
happen.
Yeah.
But you know what? Your aptitude does,
No, and
Doesn't-
that's why people,
Yeah.
and I think that's why,
they can lend
People
so
do
much to
so
our
much.
society.
plastic surgery and fillers, because
Hmm.
they really do not understand that you're supposed to look like this.
Right,
They
and it's
don't, they don't
okay.
put the two together.
And they're beautiful
Yeah.
because they have a beautiful spirit. I mean, what
Yes.
people of older age can contribute is shown right here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
This is a senior
Yeah.
center. It looks
Yeah.
like a country club.
Exactly.
I mean,
And
it doesn't feel like I work a lot, so I'm
Yeah.
not saying it is.
Yeah.
But you know, it's because of the professional people that work here.
Exactly.
Some of them are
Staff.
70, 80.
Mhm.
Stanley for the filing Finn,
yeah,
F-I-N,
Phil.
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 But yeah.
Has the same birthday as I do. So, and he recognizes me and remembers my name,
Exactly.
comes in to get his blood pressure.
Oh, yeah.
There's
He's 103.
Something?
No
103.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
he was just in the paper.
Yeah,
there's
he was.
two
Yeah.
people. I can't
See,
remember the other one, but
Oh my
these people
goodness.
here, even in their 80s and 90s, and I'm sure it's everywhere, but maybe it's because I'm recognizing it, but they are so.
Sure.
On, top as a tap,
and that's, yep,
and no
Yeah.
less than anyone else that's 30 or 40.
probably a lot smarter.
Yeah, you got that
A
right.
lot
Lived a
smarter.
lot of life, yeah.
Exactly.
But I got to contribute.
That's why I respect our elders
so do I.
so much.
Well, I was,
so
my
much.
I was fortunate to have my mother, two grandmothers, all living in the same, I grew up very Italian
Mhm.
and, it was a women's world
Yeah.
where I grew up,
Mhm.
you know, I had my dad,
Yeah.
but it was a women's world. And,
Yeah.
and I lived around a lot of older folks and,
Mhm.
Sure.
And that's how you learn
That's
a
how I
lot of
learned.
life.
Yeah.
and my best friend is 72.
Wow.
And, you know, so I mean, I just have, and I was talking to Sue, another friend, Sue who works for the county here, I was talking to her about it, I don't know, all my friends are 70 to 75, she goes, me too. But it's just, I love to engage in conversations and it's just,
Yeah.
We all need companionship.
but I mean, the information really speaks to me because it's life experience.
Yeah.
That they
Right.
bring to the table is incredible.
That's the other thing about it. People,
that's why I try to bring so much awareness. People may see our elders and just say, oh, they're old,
Right,
but how did they get here?
right.
They weren't born old.
I don't think that happens much in Hammocks. They would not accept that
No.
at all, which I am very
I
happy
see-
about.
I come in here and I'll see them playing pool
Mhm.
and I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, hitting the balls,
Yeah.
not missing
Yeah,
or doing yoga. It's amazing.
some of them can move more than I can, trust me.
Yeah,
It's
I feel
crazy, but
exactly. Yeah, trust me, I understand.
it's a great place.
Yeah.
So I was doing the math on I'm a numbers guy,
Yeah.
so I took 30% of
Yeah,
5,200 and I said, that's around 1,560.
Yep. Yep.
Do you have a feeling for how many of those are email savvy and how many you have to snail mail?
good
or-
question, because I don't know if you, oh, it's probably not on that copy, but my next category is gonna be technology.
Good.
Because we're working very close with broadband, and we've implemented new classes through the Asian Dementia Friendly Group, and it's a coaching class for first time to say hello to your computer.
Mhm.
But to your point,
Mm.
almost 90% give us an email,
Nice.
and they get
Wow.
the, you
great.
get the newsletter email to them.
I'm on the digital equity and steering, and that's a lot that I talk about, the
It's important.
elders who do not have internet or access to a device.
Mhm,
And even some that do, they do not know how to use it.
correct.
So
Yeah.
we're really fighting to have some of our our internet, because we are just bombarded by spectrum right now, and
Right.
it's like overcharging over
Yeah.
everything. So it would be a great program to get them started.
No,
on.
the
So
discount programs
once
from the
this-
federal level have been
I was
discontinued.
getting ready to say, they're not even in it.
They're debunked
Yeah.
because they went out, so all the grant monies just went so fast.
Yeah,
But doesn't that show the federal government the need?
exactly.
Well, yeah.
But they don't care about the elderly because they feel like, oh, well,
Well, we're
Next
working
step,
on it,
you
so
know.
I'm working, but we actually have one of my COA board members, Linda Metropolis, on the broadband committee, and that's purposeful, because we're working, I interviewed with the broadbands on the state level. It's important, and it's important that we all understand that it doesn't have to be scary, because our world is getting smaller in having the options
yeah.
of writing a check, the
Yeah.
option to look at your doctor in the face, the
Right.
option to pay your bill
Right.
without going online. Those options are slimming
Yeah.
very
It
fast.
really is.
And
and
it's
it's
becoming a
becoming
priority. That's why I'm saying I almost want to have it as another category. To
Yeah,
Think of
I think
it
it
as
will
that
be.
important
Yeah.
to these people, because they come in and they have their phone and
Yeah.
how do I
Yeah.
get into this medical portal thing? They're
Right.
telling me?
Oh, I
What
bet that
even
happens
is that?
all the
What
time.
is?
I was going to come in and help and start a program, but I was told there was already a program like that here.
For which one? The medical portal?
No, to help people with their devices. To
We have
understand.
5 different people currently now,
Mhm.
already doing it.
Okay.
They do it as an email. So what it happens is, you come in, you have a problem, you go to the receptionist and they take your information down. We have 2 volunteers that have been
Oh.
doing this since 2019,
Right.
and they're phenomenal.
So they go to the person?
Janice will even go to your house and set up your
Okay.
computer if you buy a new computer.
Okay, good.
Who
That's
would have
good.
thought,
Yeah,
right?
That's good.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
And then,
I've got an 88-year-old next door neighbor and her Wi-Fi dropped out.
Oh,
And she had to wait until Spectrum could fit her in.
Yeah.
And it was probably just like rebooting or getting a new router or something.
Yeah.
right?
So that would have been good.
Yeah, and it's in our newsletter. So, I mean, that's always been in our newsletter. I'm not sure which page some, but these 2 individuals have been doing this. So this isn't new to the center. We're just now recognizing it as more of a need,
okay.
not a want. So I think it was always been there as a want. Like, it's nice to be able to know who to call. But
Right.
now it's becoming more of a need.
Yeah, it really is. In a
It
sense.
is.
So hence the group getting involved and trying to rally them all together so I can get a resource list and people and have it posted. This is what you gotta do. This is who you gotta
Well,
call.
that's great.
Trying to bring it all in.
I'm happy about that. It's a
It's
lot.
important.
It's so much information you're providing tonight. I truly appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah.
Megan, do you have any questions for Nikki?
Tired of looking at my back, Megan, I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, it's just so inspiring to hear all the programming and everything that's happening and thinking about what Pat said as well, like, right, really considering in some ways who is sort of most vulnerable in our community, and that some of those folks are going to be those housebound seniors, disabled seniors, low-income seniors that may or may not have a robust kind of support system. So I'm really inspired to kind of hear about your work there. So thank you for all that you're doing.
Oh, thank you, Megan. You know, that happens a lot too, and in the world that we live in, I wrote about it in the newsletter. Technology's taking over. Families aren't what they used to be. We used to live intergenerational. That's how
Yeah.
I'm living right now, and I'm actually moving, but they live together. And on the same street. Now I have a son in California, I have a son in Texas,
I know.
and a son in Connecticut. When something happens to me, I do think, oh.
What's gonna happen?
I don't want my sons helping me undress or, you know, what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to hire somebody, so I myself think of myself as in this
Exactly.
situation when
Yes.
I'm putting programs together.
Good job.
Yep.
Good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
It's good that you use that insight, because a lot of people do not put themselves in other people's shoes. They do it in a way where, okay, this will work, without actually putting it together and having someone
Right.
go through that issue and
Yeah.
live that life.
I work two ways, you know, the
There
brain
you
and the
go.
heart,
Yeah,
right? So
I can
you
tell.
know, you gotta, you
I can
have to.
tell.
That's great. Does anyone have any questions? No? We
I
could
just-
go on
Well, yeah,
forever.
Can I
it's my
say-
favorite subject, I'm a workaholic, so I
And
And Nikki came in at 7 AM.
Whoa.
Nikki.
Hi,
So
budget.
sorry.
That's
Like,
what the coffee.
I wanna drive
Have you
home.
had something to eat?
Not dinner, I had lunch, but I'll eat dinner when I go home. And then
If
go to
we
bed.
ever wanted to just have a chat, do we,
You
any
can-
of us individual call you or
You
email
can
you or
call
drop
me.
in, anything?
All right.
I've only brought two, but I'll.
over here. Does any-
Do you send out, one last question?
Sure.
For me, do you send out, like, real-time email warnings to the, like, for example.
I know what you're.
There's a DOT thing that's been
Mhm.
going around, and I got that, I did it to my office,
Mhm.
then I got home and I got another one, and I sent it to my two neighbors who were in their
Yeah.
70s and 80s. And my neighbors in their late 80s said, oh, I got one on it, and I decided not to, I'm like, good, don't touch that.
Right, yeah. So there's a system in the
Oh,
town
yeah.
that utilizes the phone through alerts.
Like the Nixle.
Like Nix.
I have
Yeah.
that.
We have, what we do, we have constant contact, so if there's, so the art show, let's use that as an
Mhm.
example, that's happening last Friday.
Yeah.
No one's heard about it, Jane says, give them, you know, they need to know, so we send an email blast with constant contact.
Oh,
So,
I'm not on that.
Catherine does it and Lauren do it together, and they work off the newsletter, look for important things, and they're sent every week.
Okay.
But if there's something that, especially Jane, that she had alerted that, you know, I'm not seeing any movement in this particular program, can you do that, please? And it gets added to the next constant contact.
Oh,
So
that's great.
there's something we have to be careful of, though, you can overload people too, so
Oh, yeah.
it's a fine
Yeah,
balance.
to go too often, they
Oh,
figure
yeah.
out.
Yes.
They won't even check in.
Yeah.
Because even our newsletter is big and it's beautiful and it needs to be this big because we have a lot going on, but
Right.
so much gets missed because. Again, perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just looking for my
I
class.
study that.
Exactly. Yeah,
And-
that's true.
I study that.
And it's like the technology.
I just want to know when the ice cream social is.
Yeah. You keep calm.
No, I really do. I study that
Yeah.
and I get it. I don't get any emails. I get
But you
print
can
copy.
get it.
Well, I'm afraid that they'll stop sending me by print because
Oh,
I'd
no,
rather
no.
print.
No, it's
We
both.
do both.
I get it both.
We do both.
No kidding.
Call tomorrow. Catherine will change it. Or if I think about it,
Add me
write it
to
down.
that.
Yeah.
I came to your ice cream taste contest, and
Violet did
I
it.
think Rosalie Weinberg cheated. She was
I'm gonna
tasting the
tell
night
her.
before.
That's fun.
Oh,
Mark.
No, it's a great, I love it, everything
And
here.
and
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
the one thing that I get from everybody is it's just so welcoming, and it is, but that's
Yeah.
because of the community too.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
very
good thing going here.
Thank you for
very
coming.
much.
Thanks for
I
coming.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for using the time
We
and being out so late.
And look at her energy,
Providing
right?
us with
Well, this is
everything.
stuff, this is my,
This is your
my
passion.
space,
Yeah.
this is my passion.
Yeah.
Cause it's funny, cause one of the staff, you bring your computer, I'm a workaholic, this is like my hobby, I
Yeah,
love this.
exactly.
I know what
I'm
you're saying.
single, I'm divorced, so what you want
Yeah,
from me?
like they say,
Yeah.
when you do something you love, you're not working.
That's
Just
right,
so
yeah.
I can tell your enthusiasm with
I
this
do
is
love
just wonderful, and that's good. It's, a place like this needs that energy,
Yeah,
and it just needs to be shared with everyone,
yeah,
and being out
it's, we also need to share the shine, like,
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
kudos to where it belongs for everybody, even those we don't see, make it happen.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we've worked
This is
with
great.
Violet a lot.
yeah,
And
she's
Yeah.
seen though, but she's
Yeah.
seen, and we have more.
Yeah.
and
At the
we have
other
Catherine,
time.
Yeah.
I know.
And these volunteers that are responsible.
Oh, yeah.
Like Memory Cafe is all run by two of my board members, Jan Peterson and Sarah Chad.
Wow.
And
Mm.
they're behind the scenes in the Memory Cafe, and, we work with them too, but they're primarily responsible for making sure what runs on that.
And that's what we.
But that
want to
team
like,
out
right.
there with, programming, but it's
Right.
all these other little pieces and parts
Like a
behind
puzzle.
And
it.
do you focus on volunteers, like in the newsletter? Did you ever do that? Like,
What do you
like
mean?
do a photo and,
Every newsletter has
Has
a
one of
thank
those
you
there.
or a photo
Yes.
Yeah.
or.
Of your volunteers, right?
Mhm.
yeah, that's.
And
good.
we do a volunteer luncheon through Friends,
Cool.
we just finished that.
See, and maybe we'll be able to do something just for the volunteers, because like you said, it's behind the scenes that keeps.
Over
the
a
whole
hundred of them, so be
Yeah.
careful
Well,
what you
no.
wanna do.
You have to do 2 a week.
Yes, that's right.
2 a week.
Well, that's like my
That's gonna hold.
favorite podcast is the Hidden Brain, and they always end with the unsung hero.
Yeah.
And so they'll call out someone who you
Yeah.
wouldn't see, who's behind the scenes, who
Right.
helped, and.
It's very true, though. I mean, Violet does a beautiful job, but it's also, I also have other employees that are fantastic and volunteers too. And, my goal is to, like I said, just make sure everybody gets their kudos and everybody shines brightly.
That's so wonderful of you. Thank you
Yeah.
again, Nikki, for
Thanks.
coming.
Great.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
I won't be talking.
Okay,
And
yeah.
thanks for
yeah.
letting us use your space.
Oh,
Yes.
no problem.
Thank you, Nikki.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, take good care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye.
But
We'll
you-
have to probably table some things.
Yeah, bye now.
Adios.
Yeah.
Bye, get home safely.
Have a well day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll have to sign off soon. We're traveling tomorrow morning, so I can't stay on too much longer if we're wanting to
Okay.
get
That's
through.
fine. I think we're
Yeah.
going to have to table some stuff anyway, Megan.
Okay, great.
8:20 almost.
Yeah,
We all have to get home.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can try to get through as much as we can. But what I really wanted to allow to happen is Mark to speak on, the Connor Lodge and
The
this
letter.
letter that we have of support.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So. Go ahead, Mark.
Let's do it.
Well, this goes under the open agenda?
Yes.
Old business.
Oh, is there old business?
Old business B, any further reporting?
Kind of like- Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I think it's under open because remember in the
Well,
email, we
that-
couldn't put it on there.
Well, except that we do have an old business, so that's, so something new on that issue.
Okay.
There was an article, or there was a little reporting in the paper, was that last week or earlier this week?
Last week, wait, this is already
Yeah, yeah.
Friday.
Anyway, that there was, well, I won't go into the whole thing, but it was basically talking about sex offenders that are
I
staying
have that.
in the
I have
Canal
it.
Lodge. And, do we really want that, and we're supporting, we're buying money. So one, it's not the kind of thing that you wanna even shed light on. I mean, I think that's not a widespread misunderstanding. But I do wanna address that in case it does grow legs. That the Econo Lodge, because it got turned down by the ZBA, didn't go forward right away, had to fill in the gaps, and they did open their doors to the homeless program. That is not what they're ultimately gonna end up with. They're gonna end up with an affordable housing. Now, to some people, affordable housing means homeless and crime and
Exactly.
Yeah.
other things that I won't
Mhm.
repeat.
Right.
But that's not the same. And I think if each person looks hard in their own extended family, they'll find someone who's struggling. So to just equate people that have less earning potential or are realizing less income as that is not fair. Then I also should say that to dispel that person's concerns, this will not be the same as it's being used as right now. There is a lottery and there's a certain degree of background check that's going into those people. They have to qualify for that lottery. And registered sex offenders will, I do not believe will be allowed. That's not, you know,
Because of the
that's
school.
not what this is meant.
Right.
So it's. Yeah, I didn't want to give it too much air,
Mhm.
but I also felt like. I don't want that fire to spread too far, you know,
Well said.
that's a misunderstood thing, so.
When I got the email, it really bothered me because, you know, to just assume that homeless people or people that are low income are
Or lower,
lower income,
yeah,
are bottom of the barrel, are criminals, are, you know, just not worth being able to have a roof over their head. Look at the fires in California. There is so much displacement. And I'm quite sure not everyone has money to go and buy a new house. These are going to be homeless people again. So you can be homeless because of illness.
oh, I know,
Yeah.
I mean, are
And it's
you low
terrible.
income because you're a criminal and you,
Right.
and lazy? Well, there's gonna be the normal percentage of that, but there are plenty of people who were hardworking and something
Yeah.
disabled them, whether it was
Thank you.
physical or psychological or
Thank you.
whatever.
Medical.
They lost their
Yeah.
job and then they
Mhm.
foreclosed, you know, there,
Anything.
or, you know, there's all kinds of things that can unravel from a very good, well-intended life.
Yeah, that's what I.
And that's,
Whoever it is.
so that's what I think gets
Yeah.
missed when these stereotypes get spread.
that's the-
Oh, sorry.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no,
Well,
no,
And it's a systemic issue, right? Because if we paid people, if the minimum wage was a living wage, right, then people would have more resources, would be better able to support their families, would be better able to afford, necessities. So I just feel like in this country, we love to blame the individual, but we shy away from really, I mean, not everybody, but making those systemic critiques about why are there so many people in this wealthy country that are struggling so deeply?
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly.
why are we fearing that the new administration may make more tax cuts for those who don't need them
Right.
on their disposable income and throw more back on those who need every penny that they earn,
That they
so,
can get.
yeah.
You know,
But I won't go off on that soapbox.
okay,
So you want, so about this letter, you're asking. This is for you.
That's another issue, yes.
Okay, got it, got
So,
it. That was
so
a different issue.
when I saw the article, I did speak with our honored chair. And we agreed that it would be wise to reach out, before I debunk this, I should reach out to Valley CDC, and they did confirm what I said. And then they followed up and said, oh, and by the way, since you reached out to us, we're gonna be reaching out to you as part of their application to the state to get their funding toward the latter part of next month. They have a deadline, I think it's the 22nd or 20th, 22nd. They need to get all their paperwork into the state, and one of things that would be an integral part of that application would be support from us, so
Oh,
they asked if we would write a support letter, which we have put together.
great.
I should say, Crystal.
The subcommittee here.
And do we need to have a subcommittee to review that? Do we review it tonight? What?
What do you-
I think we're kind of out of time
Yeah,
tonight,
I would
so,
say maybe
yeah, who wants to be a?
we can have a subcommittee. I can be one, since I did, I drafted it and we can go through it and then.
And the word came out of your mouth, are you signing up?
Yes.
Great, that would be great if the two of you,
Yeah,
and then I guess, the only question I have is, do we have you sign it as a chair, or should we all sign it, so it sounds like
I
there's
was
even
thinking
more,
we all
but
should sign
I
it.
like that.
Yeah,
I like
I,
it.
coming from one person is.
Are you
not-
okay with that, Megan? Yeah,
Yeah,
She
So
it's
we'll
not the value of a
draft,
committee.
we'll review
Yeah.
and draft and send to everybody.
yeah,
And everybody can approve
Sign
it
it,
and
yeah.
sign it.
or we can print it somewhere, we can leave it here at the senior center, everybody can come in and
I
sign
can
it,
pick
if
it
you
up.
wanna have an actual.
Everybody meaning the committee members.
Yes, all of our.
Yeah.
Or some other place.
Yeah.
Or, her kitchen.
Yeah. I
Everybody
think-
wants to stop there.
I think good.
Okay,
Probably
does that
here.
sound good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That'll be great
Yeah.
because I've already
we could,
provided the
we could
letter
leave it
and we
with
can all
Nikki.
review it.
Okay,
that's great.
do we have to move
See,
on
she
this,
walked out of
or
the room and I signed her up.
do we have to formalize this, or we're just agreeing
Well,
to do it?
Maybe we could just formalize the subcommittee,
Yes.
saying that myself
Yeah.
and Pat we'll start a subcommittee regarding the supporting letter. And
Great.
we'll just do it between us and pass it around and get that approval and
You have my
when we,
full trust.
when we are done with it, who would we provide it to? When we
This Valley
complete it?
CDC?
Yeah, I think we should scan it and send it to, Laura.
The one from the email?
Laura Baker,
Okay,
yeah. Well, I mean, she and Alex are gonna, Alexis?
I think it's Alex.
Yeah,
No,
Alex.
For Brighton,
yeah, yeah,
Brighton, sorry,
right.
I'm gonna not screw it up,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway, yeah, Laura works under Alex, so I
Laura
think we could send it to Laura.
Yeah.
I think she's really
Yeah.
the one who's been presenting this to the town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
Laura
met her.
Baker, I have
Yeah.
your
She met
email,
her.
Valley CDC, yeah.
Yeah.
So once we're complete, we just send it to her and just make sure we get it to her before February 20th, I believe, or the 22nd.
yeah.
And this way they'll have it. But yeah, so
That'd be
we
great.
move to approve?
And and I would just say, if anyone has any thoughts, like, oh, I wanna make sure that this
Goes in there.
support is in there, just send it to Pat or
Both of us,
Crystal.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, just CC it and.
and
send
that
it
way
to-
we're not,
Okay.
it's all, we're not breaking the open meeting, it's just, we can send all of us to the subcommittee and then they handle it
Yeah,
from there.
and
Okay.
that's, when I was doing this letter, I kind of felt like this doesn't speak for the whole committee. Because it was a template, and I do want everyone to
Mhm.
have their input in this,
Great.
because it's coming from everyone in the committee.
Yeah.
So I would love it if everyone did have an input, did put down what they like to say, because we are the strength behind this piece of paper.
Yeah.
And coming from all of us and all of us signing it shows that we are collaborative and not just one person. I think that would be
Great.
really, really
Yeah.
the best thing.
Yeah, I think maybe if you wanna, have you already sent that out?
No.
If you send it out to everyone, then everyone looks at it, adds any comments and sends it back to the
Right.
subcommittee.
Very good.
Okay,
Very
that's
good.
what I'll do then. Okay, yeah, Pat and I will do that.
But just don't copy all, just send it to those so that we're not.
So we're not breaking the open
law.
meeting law.
Yeah.
That's-
So I
got
can I'll send everyone what I have, and then you can modify it, Pat and I, and we'll get to it,
Right,
okay?
Yeah.
Thank
or,
you.
you could send it to Pat and then blind copy three of us.
Right,
And then we won't see anyone but you and Pat, so we can hit reply. And-
Okay, so
and I won't,
individually.
and mine won't go to yours or go, just,
yeah.
just
so
in
it's not an
case,
open meeting
like I,
violation.
yeah.
I haven't figured out how to
Okay.
do blind.
Well, that's
copies.
good. I know.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's great.
So do you wanna vote on that?
yes, I want to vote on that,
Donna, aye.
okay,
Yes, Joanne says
okay,
yes,
so
do it.
Mark approved.
Megan saying aye.
Megan said aye,
All
okay,
right.
so we
All right,
have a
is
motion.
anything else
to approve.
before Megan needs to run?
Megan, I mean, really, you can go if you'd like, because we were just going to have something on here, for what we discussed from the last meeting.
Okay.
And also a guest for March, which we can discuss in February. Yeah.
Great,
So
perfect.
if you wanted to, you can definitely head on out, and I appreciate you coming in for today.
Yes, thank you. Good to see you all. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank
Stay
you.
healthy.
Yeah,
stay-
thank you. I'm trying.
Okay, have a good one.
Bye.
All right. Okay, so, it's 8:30.
I think we're at time.
It's 8:30.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can definitely table it. This stuff we have
Yeah.
on here is not something that I'm.
Anything looks time sensitive.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
you spoke about the housing board. We can always talk about Ash and everything
I'll-
else.
I'll work on some music to play on my speaker at the opening of the, what was it called? Day of
The
Jazz or
Yes,
something?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I did see something that you were supposed to look into. Was it a dance class or something?
Oh, you do not want to see me dance.
No. I can't remember. I have so much going on, but I guess we can table this for next time,
Okay.
because it is 8:30.
Or if you think of it, just email me.
Okay, so, that's it. No, we're not going to do closing reflections or anything, because we have to go. So does anyone have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Is that it?
I will second and sneak in a quick
Okay.
reflection.
I could see that coming.
That as a state employee, I thank President Biden for so many things, but one was getting the windfall eliminated so that I will get the Social Security that I earned for the other 20 years. It's not like I wouldn't have gotten any, but it would have been greatly reduced because I worked to the state.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
So,
something.
Yeah,
You see, and that's what we have to worry about going forward. Social Security. So I'm glad you got,
everything's gonna be one.
it sure
It's
is.
gonna be great.
Roses. Okay, so
Thank you.
motion to adjourn, it was.
I
Mark-
motioned.
Yeah.
Did anybody
Pat motion,
second?
And
I
then you
think I
said, you
seconded
did
it.
second it
Okay, so
actually.
Pat motion.
Done, aye.